Hello, and welcome to the Olive Press. My name is Emily Bacon, and I'm joined with Savannah Fulghum.
Hello.
That's how you pronounce your name, right?
Yes.
I feel like I've pronounced it wrong my entire time.
A lot of people
that I've
do.
known you.
People that have known us for a long time. It's like Fulghum or Fulghum.
That's what I thought at first. I thought it was Fulghum.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no R. But even like in our wedding, the priest announced it Fulghum or pronounced it, and I was like, is this still valid?
Probably.
Yeah.
God knows.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. So
But
you
there's
guys
an
are.
H, so it makes it the soft.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, bacon is kind of hard to not pronounce correctly.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's kind of mainstream.
Yeah.
Except for like Muslims and vegans and Jewish people. So good thing I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
So you guys are in Virginia right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you guys move back to Virginia?
We moved back in June, beginning of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Right
Yeah,
on.
been
How's
there
it
for,
going?
Like 9 months. It's been good. Yeah. Carter's able to do a lot better. Like we feel more secure financially. So it's like lower cost of living, and he can just do better with work.
That's
so.
crazy that like the East is a lower cost of living than here.
I know, than Idaho.
Yeah.
When I tell people that, Idaho is just getting so expensive with everybody moving there, they're like, Idaho?
I know. They're like,
Really?
where's Idaho?
Yeah. I mean, everybody on the West Coast knows, like, everybody's moving to Idaho, but
Yeah.
on the East Coast, people are like, why would you go to Idaho? Why is everybody moving
Like,
there?
have you ever visited Idaho?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I guess people get, like, they think of the bottom part, the southern part of Idaho.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's not as pretty in the southern
It
part.
is kind of ugly. We almost moved to Lewiston one time when I was in high school, and it was disgusting.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think I've been to Lewiston.
don't. I mean, okay, for anybody that lives in Lewiston, God bless you. You're getting a lot of graces for that. So it looks like the desert, for one. It gets so hot down there. And there's a paper mill, so it always smells like rank down there.
Ooh.
It smells like, it's like the worst parts of the ocean.
Have
That's
you
how
heard
it
of the
smells.
Tacoma aroma in Washington?
No.
Tacoma, really? There's a paper plant.
That's
there
probably
in
the same
Tacoma.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh,
Yeah, you
so
smell
nasty.
it and you're like, the Tacoma aroma.
That's so nasty. Yeah. Well, up here it's getting nasty, but not as bad. Like, doesn't
Yeah.
smell like a paper mill. So
Yeah.
that's good. There's just a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have done a lot with the pro-life movement.
Yeah, I mean, trying to.
Yeah.
I led a 40 Days for Life campaign once before we moved, but I wanted to keep doing, like, when I took it on as, like, the leadership position, I wanted to keep doing it, but that was when that was the spring of COVID.
Oh,
So
man.
that was really hard to get people to come out, and
Yeah.
they were like, should we be wearing masks, or and then that was also when I had my 2 miscarriages, was during that time. So it was COVID, trying to lead 40 Days for Life, just got married, and 2 miscarriages, and then we decided to move here to Idaho.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I can't I can't keep doing 40 days.
Would you do it again if you had the
I
opportunity?
actually have considered going back to Virginia. The woman that I passed it off to when I left Virginia, she has now been offered a paid job with 40 Days for Life.
Wow.
So she's looking for somebody to take it over. But we also live an hour away from the Planned Parenthood where they do 40 days there.
Oh.
And now I have 2 small children. So taking them out, like, I could drive an hour and get to the sidewalk, and then Joanna could have a fit, and we'll be there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then leave. Like, it just doesn't look very good when you're outside of Planned Parenthood trying to convince people to keep their babies.
And have a
go
screaming kid.
screaming. Yeah. Or you have to change a diaper, and I'm, like, doing it in my car, like, poopy diaper right there.
Oh, man. I know. Those optics are so bad. Like,
Yeah.
and, like,
but it's worth it.
no, totally. Like, I talk on here like, oh, yeah, Gianna ate her poop the other day, but it's like, you power through it.
Yeah.
Like, Gianna threw up in the car the other day, and, like, we had to pull over on the side of the road and everything, and, someone that's driving by who is, like, pro-choice or whatever, they're like, that's why I'm this way, and
yeah, or like, this is great birth control. Like,
right.
This is the best birth control ad.
And I'm like, okay, have you met my kid?
Yeah.
She's a pretty awesome kid, other than the times that she's throwing up. And even then, I mean, she was barely crying. She was just kind of like, I feel bad, you know.
Yeah.
Not saying that. She
Right.
can't talk yet, but, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it would be good for people to see that almost.
Yeah, we were actually interviewed at, we went to the 40 Days for Life in D.C.
Was that this year?
The March for Life in D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first one post-Roe, so that was pretty cool. Like
that is amazing.
Landmarker. But we were interviewed by, it was like Channel 9 News, and he was like, what do you want to say about your kids? And I was like, they're wild. And he was like, they're wild? And I was like, yes. And then he was like, okay, and just walked away. And I was like, why did I say that? I could have just said, like, they're wild, but they're worth it, or something more than just, like, they're wild. It's not very good, like, pro-life. I don't know. Not very convincing, I guess.
I'd be convinced.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and I've been pro-life my whole life, so I can't, I guess, say that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's true. Kids are wild, man.
Yeah.
They're
it's an
crazy.
adventure, right? Like,
Every day.
the biggest adventure. People talk about, like, traveling, you know, by themselves and, like, their freedom and everything. And I'm like, okay, go stare at a canyon. Like, what an adventure.
I mean, I do kind of, like, our friend went to Spain. Melanie, shout out to Melanie.
Yeah.
That's, like, the second shout out I've done for Melanie. All right, well, Mel needs to come on here now.
Yeah, it's hard not to shout out to Melanie.
And she's in Spain right now, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of jealous of you, man. Like, I just cleaned up vomit the other day, and you're in Spain? Like, that's amazing. But,
Yeah.
no, I think, like, it is worth it.
Mhm.
Totally. Like, I'd skip Spain in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
So.
that was my dream, was to travel mostly around the country. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of places like Switzerland. I'd love to go to Switzerland,
Why Switzerland?
but it's just really beautiful, and like the mountains. But
I was thinking chocolate.
Oh well, I didn't know about chocolate, but I was reading the story of a soul, and
yeah.
Saint Therese was talking about just like how beautiful it was traveling.
I was just
through
reading that.
Switzerland. Oh really?
Yeah, I just started it.
Oh, I'm like maybe 2 chapters left. to
Nice.
read it. Yeah.
I'll have to finish it so we can, like, talk about it.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was reading the Apostle to Motherhood.
Yeah.
I know you've read that. Have you read it a couple times or just once?
Yeah, I've read it a couple times.
Okay,
I
still
give
haven't.
it to everybody.
I haven't
like,
finished it yet.
No.
There's, like, no time to read.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll get in, like, 3 words, you know.
Yeah.
Like, this year I had a goal to read Lord of the Rings all the way through, the trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I haven't read it.
I'm, like, a quarter way through the first book.
Yeah.
And it's dense, dude. Like,
Yeah.
crazy. And then I read it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read it every day. And then a week goes by, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read. And then I still don't read
Now I'm going to start.
Yeah. It's going to happen in 40 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So, awesome. So, you had, and you don't have to say your kids' names on here, by the way.
I'm fine with
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some moms, you know, they don't want to, and I
Yeah.
totally understand.
Yeah.
So when did you have Joanna?
June of 21.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right
Coming
on.
up on 2 years.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So, like, does she say a lot of words and?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she says mama and daddy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Has she
Yeah.
said any swear words yet?
No, but I have like, you know, she copies me a lot, so
Mm.
I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm like, I really gotta watch everything I'm saying because she'll start to copy. So
Same.
yeah.
Same. Yeah, Gianna learned all of them that day she ate her poo.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, that's
I've
great.
never been a big swearer, but then when you have kids and you're just like feeling kind of high strung and they like, you know, dump out their applesauce all over the floor, it's kind of hard to just hold it together.
Keep your cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Gianna likes to poke Finnegan's eyeballs.
No, no.
And, like, step on him. Like, today she was watching Bluey. Have you ever seen Bluey before?
No, I keep hearing about it. Though.
Okay,
I
please
want
watch it. It's amazing.
to. Yeah.
Just one episode. Like, I'll even show it to you after this.
Okay.
It's
Sounds good.
actually really cool. But Finnegan was laying on the ground, and Gianna's standing there, like, drinking water or whatever, and she has her foot on his stomach, and I'm like, get your foot off your brother! And then she looks at me and does it, and then she looks at me straight in the eyes and does it again. Like, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, get your foot off.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I actually did that. You know, like babies on the floor, and you just kind of like poke their belly with your toe a little bit.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
Like, boop, boop.
No, but she was full on, like, stepping on him, like,
Yeah. Well, I did that
resting.
to Abigail, and then Joanna came up, and she was like, "Oh, you step on the baby?" She came up and just stomped on her belly. really got to think about what you're doing. She'll copy.
Now that I think about it, that's probably why Gianna did that.
Yeah.
Because I do that to Finnegan. I, like, roll him with my foot, like a little dough ball, you know? Oh, my gosh. It's amazing. Oh, man. Well, I guess we'll just start from the beginning. Who are you and what do you want?
I'm Savannah. Born in 1998 in Washington.
In Washington?
Yeah. In
I didn't know
Washington
that.
State. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yes, I did know that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived there until I was 11. My mom met my stepdad, and he was military, so we moved to New Mexico. And then we were, like, in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, which was a really big change from, like, we were, like, south of Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
So it's, like, the suburbs, and that was all I knew. And it's, like, you know, really rainy all the time and gloomy and cold. Yeah. And then we moved to New Mexico, where it's, like, the desert, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I have no friends, and I'm, you know, a young teenager. Like,
yikes.
Yeah, that first year in New Mexico, I hated it. It was awful. But then I, you know, warmed up and we made, like, a little group of homeschooled friends, and
right on.
Yeah. And then we moved to Virginia when I was 16, and I got a job working at greenhouse nursery place, landscaping place, and met Carter.
When you were 16?
I was 18. Well, I was probably, like, 17 when we first met, just, like, at the counter, because, you know, he'd come up and, like, pay for mulch or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but then when I was 18, we started dating. It's actually, we met at the company Christmas party. So he worked at the tree lot, like, in the winter at the nursery. Mm-hmm. We did a tree lot because it'd get slow in the winter. So he worked at the tree lot because he would also get slow doing landscaping. And we met then. And then at the company Christmas party at the end of the season is when we, like, started dating. It's a story.
Wow.
But yeah,
well, tell the story if you want. I mean, you don't have to.
Well, so I never really had much to drink before that. And my parents went out of town. They went to Washington to meet family or visit family. And so I went to the company Christmas party. And I wasn't even going to stay for very long because, you know, like, my parents were gone and the house was empty, and I was like, it sounds so nice to go just hang out in my empty house. And I was actually just about to leave, and then one of my coworkers, she was like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. Will you take my place in cornhole? And so I took her place, and then my partner was Carter.
Oh.
Who I didn't really, like, know that well.
Wow.
Yeah, so... And then he was talking about how, like, some of the guys were talking about going mudding later. And I was like, maybe I'll stick it out and just see how this goes. Like, I don't want to miss anything. I have, like, serious, like, FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah. Mofo. What is mofo? I've heard that. No, like.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to.
It's not good.
Oh, is actually a thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I meant FOMO, fear of missing out.
Okay. I'm not hip.
Oh dear. But yeah, so I didn't want to miss anything, so I was like, I better just stick around and, like, just see how this goes. And then I think Carter was even the one that, like, offered me a beer, and then he offered me another beer, and we were all just kind of, like, hanging out. And then they were gonna go mudding, and so I went with Carter, and there was another girl with us, and then I think it was 2 other guys and some of their friends, and we all went. Like, when I think about this, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that we did that. But we were 18, so I can kind of believe it. We were young and dumb. But we all went trespassing. There was some mudding hole behind some, like, store.
Savannah.
I know. And I'm like, we were all underage and drinking and trespassing. I'm so glad.
You're a criminal.
I know. But that was my wild phase, like that one night. It was my wild phase, start to finish. But yeah, so then Carter said that he could drive me home. Like, my boss was like, you're obviously not driving yourself home. And Carter was like, I could drive her home.
Oh.
So, you know, this guy that had also been drinking and was underage. I was like, okay. So we get in his truck, and he's going to drive me home. And as he's backing out, he's, like, in this big truck. And my manager's new little car was right next to his truck. And so he's pulling out, and we, like, hear this little, like, thud. And we're like, what was that? And then we start driving out of the parking lot, and there's like a few of our friends like running after us, like waving their arms, like, wait. And Carter's like, I wonder if I hit something. So he gets out, and he took off the bumper of my manager's car. Oh, so my manager, she was so upset. And they were like, yeah, you're not driving yourself home either. So he went home with his friends, and my friends took me home.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, and then the next day he got my number and texted me, and he was like, I'm really sorry. And I was like, it's okay. You know, we're both drinking too much. And I was like, but if you want to make it up to me, you could take me out to dinner.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we went out to dinner that night. Yeah.
Wow, and the rest is history.
That was it. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy. I wouldn't ever pinpoint you as a criminal.
I know. Don't let anybody hear this that like has the power to arrest me, because I just confessed. So
I can't control that.
No.
Please don't arrest her. She has 2 children.
It was a long time ago. Like,
yeah.
I'm out of that phase
I
now.
mean, I've done stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody has,
Yeah.
especially as teenagers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were tubing. Maybe you were with us actually. We were tubing on the river.
Oh yeah.
It was during the week.
Yes.
Oh, you were with us?
You're the one, you and
Colton.
yes. You were all
We were
like, is this it?
Corbin!
Is this Corbin? Yeah.
Yeah, and then, because Corbin is known for killing people.
Yes.
Because there's, like, whirlpools.
Mm-hmm.
And we were drinking and stuff, and, like, I was plastered. I
I
didn't
know.
even know, because it was, like, we're on the river. You
Yeah.
can't feel your inebriation leaving your body. And anyway, so then our friend came and picked us up in the box truck. Oh,
I remember that.
man.
Pat and I were at like the end of the little train that we had going.
Oh yeah.
With our inner tubes.
And he was getting hypothermia.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, we got like separated from the group.
Oh,
and
you
so
did?
we both like washed up on this little like island, and the water was going so fast, and we were like, how are we gonna just like jump back in on our inner tubes with the water going so fast? And we managed to do it, and then we rowed ourselves over to the shore where you guys stopped.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know Pat at that time.
Really?
Yeah, we were like holding on to each other like, we're gonna die. Like, it's nice
Oh
to
my
meet you.
gosh, that's crazy. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. Well, and now I look back and I'm like, oh, how did I even? That was a Wednesday.
What?
It was like in the middle of the week, and now I'm just like, oh, I'm up at 9:30. Oh, I'm gonna be so tired tomorrow. Like, I can't drink anymore. I'm like so tired after I drink. Like,
yeah.
I feel hungover after one drink now.
Yeah.
Like, after Finnegan, we went out and I ended up getting like really drunk, by accident. You know, like, because
Yeah.
I hadn't drank for like 9 months. You know, so your like ability, your tolerance goes down. You know, so I was like, whoa, and I called my sister like 9 times.
Oh. At least it was just your sister.
Yeah, and I like didn't know that I did, and Ella's like, Emily, you called me like 9 times, and I'm like, no, I didn't. And then I look the next morning, and I'm like, oh shoot, I did. Like, well, okay, never doing that again. Yikes! Yeah, man, that's crazy. So, how are you guys doing? So, like, with the pro-life stuff, currently, do you guys try to go to the Planned Parenthoods and stuff?
Yeah, I do, just like whenever we're out and about, and like maybe if both of the babies are asleep in the back, and I'm like, we could probably make it, and I try to park right next to where I'm gonna stand, and then I crack the window.
Oh, nice.
So that I can hear if they
The
wake
babies,
up.
yeah. You might want to be a little closer to the
Oh,
microphone.
sorry.
It's hard. I know. I forget all the time.
Yeah, I'm just getting like relaxed.
No, I know you're
Comfortable,
good.
Yeah.
I didn't give you any alcohol.
But yeah, and then Saturdays is abortion day at not the Planned Parenthood where we do 40 days, but there's another clinic like 2 miles down the road. There's like 4 abortion clinics in Richmond.
They have an abortion day?
Yeah, so the abortionist only comes in 1 day a week to do
man.
well, sometimes if it's like a really busy clinic, they'll do 2 days a week or something.
Wow.
But they're not there all the time. It's usually there's no doctors at the abortion clinic except for to do the abortions. So when they say like it's a choice between a woman and her doctor, the woman doesn't actually see the doctor until they arrive for their abortion appointment. So
Once a week?
yeah.
Wow.
So saying that, you know, it's a choice between a woman and her doctor is just absolute nonsense, because she doesn't see the doctor until it's like almost too late. So
till the day. So what spurred you to go into this type of ministry?
Well, I've always just been appalled at like just the reality of what abortion actually, like, you know, that happens here. But my mom was actually just telling the story again the other day, like when I first learned about abortion. I was 9, and she was reading us a book. Like, she would just read to us at night, and it was something about Mother Teresa and how she like appealed to the Pope or something about abortion. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I had never heard the word abortion. And so I asked her what abortion is. And she, you know, kind of explained, like, dumbed it down a little bit. Like, you know, when a mom doesn't want a baby, she'll go to the doctor and have the doctor kill the baby. And I was like, what? That happens in America? like, you know, like, it doesn't happen in, you know, just third world countries or, like, you know, barbaric places. Like, that's happening here. And so she would do 40 Days for Life sometimes. We were signed up for an hour weekly with a few nuns that I became friends with one time. That was pretty cool. One of them actually gave me a rosary that I still keep. It's like my favorite rosary. It's in my purse.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so I started 40 Days when I was a kid, and then I just continued, you know, when I had a lot of time when I was first married, stay-at-home wife. I was like, I might as well just go out to the abortion clinic, and I did convince a few moms to change their minds at that time. Still in touch with one, and, you know, like, there was another woman that changed her mind. She was in college, and she had a whole story, but she was also adopted. And, you know, I was like, well, have you ever considered adoption? And she said that, you know, like, she couldn't stand the thought of giving her baby to somebody else to raise. And I'm like, but what if your mom had that same mentality for you? Like, you know, and she was like, well, you know, and then she changed her mind, and she's like, okay, we'll see, like, you know, see if I can handle this, see what I can do. And we went out to lunch, and she ended up asking me if I could give her a ride to a job interview. And that was a few weeks later, and she kept her baby and got a job. And
wow.
Yeah, and then there was another woman that I'm still in touch with. She has 6 kids now, and she's having a hard time, but she has all of her kids, and she's, like, so thankful that she changed her mind. She was there for her abortion appointment that day, and she walked in, and then she came back out to me crying, and she had taken, you know, we pass out, like, pamphlets about the local pregnancy resource centers and, like, you know, help available, and she took it as she drove in. And she walked into the clinic and then came back out to me just sobbing, and I gave her a hug, and I was like, are you okay? And she was like, I think I want to change my mind. And
wow.
And she said that she already gave Planned Parenthood her not like a down payment, like a deposit or like a security, you know, like you have to pay, I guess it's called a security deposit,
which is ironic.
Yeah, it was $300. And she was like, I already gave it to them. I don't know if they'll give it back to me. And, you know, that meant a lot to her. Like, $300 was a lot of money to a woman with 4 kids.
Well, yeah.
And so I was like, well, you go back in and see if they'll give it to you. And I'm going to contact some people and, you know, see how we can help you. And so she walked in, and they wouldn't give it back to her. So I was like, well, we'll be able to get it back for you. So we fundraised it for her, like some people from church. We all chipped in.
Wow. And
gave it back to her, and she kept her baby. And then after she had her baby, I went and brought her a meal, and I got to hold that baby.
Wow.
And it was really cool. That day that I met her on the sidewalk, I was standing out there, and there was a couple that drove in with their, like, maybe 3 or 4-year-old little girl. And the dad stayed outside in the parking lot with her while the mom went inside to have the abortion. And the little girl was just, like, jumping in the leaves. Like, it was a beautiful fall day. It was October 2nd, Feast of the Guardian Angels. And so the little girl was just jumping around in the leaves, and I was just heartbroken. Like,
she has no
idea that her mom is in there killing her baby brother or sister. And I was just, like, just heartbroken. But then when I got to go meet this little baby, you know, the mom that chose life, her older sister she just came and gave me a hug. like, she didn't know, you know, like, how her mom knew me, or, you know, like, that,
Yeah.
you know, I convinced her mom to choose life. But she just came up and gave me a hug, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, that was just a really cool moment. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So how do you go about, like, convincing, I guess, because I feel like a lot of times, especially in, like, the mainstream media, they kind of paint pro-lifers as, like, hecklers, or they paint them as people that only care about babies in the womb and not outside of the womb. Like, so how do you, I guess it's like a double question. Like, how do you go against those stereotypes? And how do you convince people, like, in the thick of it, to choose life?
Well, for one, I'm a young woman. Like, I'm a mom. So everybody's like, you know, like, those old white men standing out here telling me what to do with my body. And I've been out there with old white men before, and people are like, look, these old white men telling me what to do. And I turn around and I'm like, oh, really? Like,
am I an old white man?
Like, I've got 2 kids. Like, I know what this takes. So there's that. And then I don't bring graphic signs. I think that those have a place, but it's not in front of the abortion clinic, I feel like. I mean, everybody, like, different things will affect different people, I know. So I know that those will change some people's minds, but I just think that they don't belong in front of the abortion clinic. So I just bring, like, usually a pamphlet with the different resources in the area. Like, there's pregnancy homes, and then there's pregnancy resource centers that can offer free ultrasounds and counseling, and you know, like, parenting counseling, like, for both mom and dad if they want to come, and material services.
Nice.
And a lot of times they can also, like, counsel them, like, you know, if they just never had good influences, or, like, you know, good financial advice, and so they can counsel them in that way and help people get back on their feet. So when people are driving into Planned Parenthood, I just kind of, like, smile and wave at them, and I hold a little brochure out to them, and I'm like, hey, can I give this to you? Yeah. And a lot of times they'll roll the window. Like, I try to look really approachable, but probably, like, half the time they'll roll the window down, and I'll say, I just want to let you know that we're out here just letting everybody know that there's a lot of resources in the area. Like, Planned Parenthood isn't your only place to go if you're struggling with a difficult pregnancy. And so they'll usually just say thank you. Sometimes they'll laugh in my face because they know, like, that I'm there for changing people's minds on abortion, and they've heard really bad things about pregnancy resource centers, because the mainstream media will say that pregnancy resource centers are fake clinics, just, like, trying to get people in there, and I don't even know what they're saying that our motive is, because there's no, I mean, we're all volunteers, and it's all, like, donation supported. Right. So I don't know how they could paint us in a bad light, but yeah, so a lot of times I'll get in little arguments with people, or, you know, sometimes it doesn't go that great, and it's kind of just awkward. Like, I know that they already have this perception of me. Yeah. But yeah, it's worth it. I mean, even just the few moms that I know about that have kept their babies all of those hours on the sidewalk, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. So I have you ever heard of the guy? His name is Zach King. Have you ever heard of him?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
He was a warlock, which is, like, that sounds like.
I think that sounds. Were you talking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that every time there are pro-lifers on the sidewalk, something ends up going wrong, and, like, because he said, like, whenever there's an abortion clinic, there's always, like, some person in there that is specifically there for, like, satanic rituals. And every time there are abortion pro-lifers on the sidewalk and there were rosaries being said, something would end up going wrong and they wouldn't be able to proceed. Wow. And so,
I believe it.
Yeah. Our Lady protects those babies.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if anybody wants to go do that, keep doing it, because it's actually making an impact. Yeah. Yeah, that's so crazy. So how do your kids, I guess, react to it? Because I know they're little, so are they pretty tolerable?
Yeah, I mean, Joanna just gets really fidgety. Like, if I'm trying to hold her, or just having her sit in the stroller, she doesn't usually last long. So I'll bring, you know, her favorite snacks or things that she doesn't usually get to have, and
Nice.
use those as my last ditch effort. Like, maybe I can get 5 more minutes out of her to stand out here, because it's so hard to leave. Like, I don't want to say it's like addicting, because it's also like really hard to be out there, but it's like, maybe if I'm out here for 5 more minutes, it'll make that difference for that one mom coming in. Like, you just never, so it's so hard to just say, all right, I'm gonna leave now.
Right.
But I guess, like, before, when I was leading the campaign and I had no kids, I would be out there for hours, because I was like,
Wow.
you know, like, I don't really have, like, I have a reason to go home. I've got stuff to do at home, like, you know, some house chores, make dinner for my husband, but like, I might as well spend my time just being out here.
Yeah.
So I would just stay for a really long time. But now with kids, I'm like, they're my timer. Yeah.
For everything.
Yes.
Well, sometimes it's good, you know, because they're like an excuse to leave a party if you don't want to be there.
Yes.
They have benefits for sure. But so with the Walk for Life, how is that? Like, how is I guess since it's the first one since Roe has been overturned, which is amazing.
Yes.
How, I guess, was like the vibe of everybody that was there?
It was definitely more upbeat. Like,
good.
Like before the March for Life, it was, you know, like, we really had a mission, because it was on the not the feast day, the anniversary of Roe.
Yeah.
So it was really trying to get Roe overturned, and now that it's been overturned and it's on the anniversary of Roe, it was like, it felt like an accomplishment. Like,
it was like a celebration.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and there was still a really good turnout. Like, we were afraid that there wouldn't be, because Roe had already been overturned, but it was still thousands of people.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing. That's one of my dreams, is to do it.
Yeah.
I think when Gianna and Finnegan are older, because we just tried to do the Walk for Life in Spokane, and Gianna spilled water on herself and was just like not having it, and so we ended up getting home. We had to go home. Like, we didn't do the walk, but which is fine. I mean, that's the picture of parenthood, right? That's what we're advocating for, and so like, it was frustrating, but then I'm like, okay, well, this is what I
pro-life thing I could do.
Exactly, is to like take care of my kids. So I think eventually we'll try to do that at some point. I think that'd be cool.
Well, that's how I ended up meeting that woman that was hosting St. Gianna's daughter. Is because the girls were getting fussy. Like, we were there for the rally, and the rally was taking a lot longer than I thought it would, and it was cold. And the forecast said like 55 degrees, and it was going to be sunny. So I was like, okay, well, I don't need to bring like a bunch of jackets that we're going to end up carrying around, right? So we were getting really cold with the wind, because I didn't account for the wind. And so I was like, well, I'll skip the march and go in and, you know, take the girls into the museum for the march, because they were getting so fussy and cold. Yeah. But I didn't realize that the march started right in front, like on the steps of the museum.
Was it what museum was it?
It was some, what's it called? That giant crystal thing.
Trying to remember. Teddy and I had been there once to the it's not the Smithsonian, right?
Yes.
It is the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's that giant crystal and the big elephant in there.
Oh, the Natural History Museum? Maybe.
I think maybe.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, we were just calling it the elephant stairs.
Nice.
That's where we were supposed to meet, but but yeah, so I was just going to take the girls, and Carter and the rest of our church group was going to do the march. So I started heading towards the museum, and the crowd just kept getting thicker and thicker. And I was like, oh, it starts right here. So we were like I now understand how people get trampled in crowds, because we were like squished in there. And Abigail was crying, and I had the stroller with me with Joanna in it, so I couldn't really like push through people. So I was like, all right, we're just going to stay right here and get swept away in the march, I guess. So I nursed Abigail and got her to calm down, and Joanna, you know, she fell asleep. And then this woman who is a grandma, she came over and she was like, can I help you push your stroller? And I was like, oh, no, I've got it. And she was like, oh, my goodness, you're a mom with 2 babies. Like, moms always take on more than they can handle. And I was like, okay, you can help me. So we started walking, and I talked about how I didn't know that St. Gianna's daughter was going to be there, and that was so cool. And she was like, yeah, it was really cool. And then we kept talking, and it came up again, and she was like, I'm actually the one that's hosting her. And I was like,
freaked out.
Are you serious? And she said that she had written her a letter, like 2 years ago because she just really admired her.
Mm-hmm.
And she never heard back. And then when St. Gianna, or when her daughter needed somewhere to stay, she wrote her because she was from DC, and she was like, can I come stay with you? Because things get lost in translation when I try to stay at hotels. So it's easier if I can just stay with somebody.
And I'd cry if
I
I
know.
was that
She
woman.
was like, I had no idea that writing her a letter 2 years ago was going to lead to her staying at my house. So she was pretty blown away too. Just thinking about that situation is just really cool. So
dang. And I emailed St. Gianna after you told me that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I had gotten a relic when I was in the hospital of St. Gianna Redemola.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed the gal that gave me that relic, or gave my friend who then gave it to me.
Yeah.
I messaged her on Instagram, and she
Mm-hmm.
gave me St. Gianna Redemola's daughter's email. So I emailed her. She never emailed me back, but she...
Maybe in a couple years,
Maybe.
she'll be like, can I come stay with you?
Can I come stay with you in Idaho? And I'll be like, it's a mess. Man, that's
awesome.
crazy. Does she have kids? Gianna Bredemola's daughter?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I know that they're trying to canonize Pietro,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is he a blessed yet, or has he had any miracles
I don't
attributed to him?
think so.
Huh, okay.
I don't think so.
Sweet. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, you had told me that, and I was like, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
like,
and I just listened to your story the night before. Like, as I was making signs for the March for Life, I was listening to your
That's so
story.
crazy.
So I knew it, and I told her that story.
Yeah, I cried
Yeah.
when you told me that.
That was
like,
really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, maybe someday we'll meet her.
Yeah.
Maybe even in heaven.
In heaven.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gianna, St. Gianna herself. That would
Mhm.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, is it different? Because I know Virginia is a Democrat state, right?
It's
Or is it kind of a swinger?
purple. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's I think we do normally go more Democrat, but right now our governor is Republican.
Mm-hmm.
So
How is it compared to, I know we're talking a lot about the pro-life stuff, but like how is it compared to Idaho in that, or like Washington, I guess, because Idaho doesn't have any abortion clinics,
Washington is, well, I guess Washington is really just like Olympia. Seattle is the more Democrat. But like when you go, like my dad lives in Washington in Maple Valley, and there's more Republicans there.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same for Virginia. Like in Richmond and Northern Virginia is where all of our Democrats are, and then on the outskirts is where all the Republicans are. Which is, I mean, that's like most everywhere.
I saw an article recently. This is not pro-life, but that the FBI was like putting people into the Catholic churches
in Richmond. That was the Richmond FBI. Yeah, they were investigating the traditional Latin Mass. So I'm like, where's the traditional Latin Mass? Oh, that's our church. They're investigating our church.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I was reading the article. I forget which news source it was, but I was reading an article about it, and they were talking about like they're investigating the extremists at the traditional Latin Mass, and it just made me, I'm like, yes, we're so extreme. I mean, we kind of are. Like, we're not like extreme in a bad way, but we're not like very moderate, I guess.
Well, and I mean, I don't think you can when you're Catholic.
Yeah,
you can't really be moderate.
Seriously.
But that's not extreme. That's just having an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not blowing up buildings or anything. Like we're not doing any of that. We have a very specific opinion about things that are very mainstream, I guess. So,
and we believe it to be true. So if you believe it to be true, you should probably go all the way. Like if there's a God and that God is Jesus and the Bible is Catholic, then the Catholic Church is the true church, and you should probably believe it and like you do what it says. Like
right. And I mean, I just laugh about it sometimes because I'm like, I was reading that article and I thought of you when I first read it. I'm like, oh, Virginia, okay. Yeah. Well, I wonder if Savannah knows about this.
Yeah.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
And so, but then I was like, I kind of feel like enlivened by this, you know, like I feel like we're doing something right.
Me too. And they were saying like the best way to do it is to send somebody undercover to the church, and I'm like, who is it? Like,
it's you.
Well, I'm like, now I'm like thinking about it, like when we're at the church, like are we setting a good example? Like are we, you know, when people come to our church, are they looking around and thinking that this is silly and it's all a game, or are they seeing us like take it seriously, or like,
right.
you know, like if it's somebody that I go up to and be like, hey, I haven't seen you here before, like are you new? Are they gonna get a good impression from me? Like now I'm just thinking about it, like how do we come off?
Well, and I don't even know. I mean, if they ended up, I'm sure that there's more, you know, at different churches and whatever. I mean, we know it to be true. We believe it to be true. And, I mean, I don't know how people, I guess maybe I am biased, but like, I don't know how people could see like the congregation and especially the Latin Mass, see that and think that we're all just pretending.
Right.
You know, I mean, you look at a high mass, especially the incense, the smells and bells and all of that, you know, and you're just like, this isn't just some elaborate joke.
Yep.
Like, that has been going on for 2,000 years. This is the real deal, you know? So it just kind of made, but another thing with the Attorney General, he was like, yeah, there's like definitely an air of anti-Catholicism in the FBI. And it's like, you just caught on to that? Like,
what?
Yeah, it said that in the article.
Attorney General of Virginia?
Uh-huh.
What?
Said that in the article.
Him at the Virginia March for Life.
Yeah, so he's like,
wow.
He's like, yeah, there's a growing sentiment of anti-Catholicism in the FBI. And it's like, that sounds accurate. We've known that for years. So, and now it's just coming to light, which is crazy. So,
that's great.
Oh well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's not like we don't see that every day in the media, you know.
I'm looking forward to being a martyr, honestly. Like,
I don't know if we'll ever get that far.
Like, we're getting closer.
I know. I pray about that all the time. I'm like, just give me the grace to be a martyr. Like, that's my biggest fear is, like, if I ever get into that position, I'd be like, no.
Would I do it?
Yeah, so it's like, it definitely takes some serious, like, supernatural strength to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I look at Maximilian Kolbe. My gosh, that dude.
Yeah.
He's intense.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't ever wish that upon yourself, you know, that type of death. So, like, I think it was, like, they injected him. They, like, I think that was what it was, like, death by injection or something. They gave him, like, poison, I think, in the end. Because they had starved him to death for multiple days, and then I think they ended up just euthanizing him.
Really? Wow, I thought he just took a really long time to starve.
No, I think they did end up injecting him.
Wow.
But that's pretty incredible, you know, that he did that. And it kind of just, I think his story is amazing for even the pro-life movement because life is sacred on all levels.
Right.
So he, like, gave up his life for an adult.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you know what you're doing for Lent?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm doing 1 meal a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're hardcore.
Well, so for our friend Sarah,
yeah,
with esophageal cancer, you know, it's kind of like in solidarity with that.
Oh.
And I was thinking about maybe, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Like, if I don't do that, I'll probably give up, like, dairy or something. Or, like, do, like, the Byzantines. Have you ever heard what the Byzantines do?
Yes.
I'm not going to be that crazy.
No,
they give up, Madison just told me about this.
Yeah.
They give up
meat,
dairy,
eggs,
and fish with a backbone, and
oil.
Oil?
They give up oil. I don't know how they do it.
Oh, the heck? Oil's in everything.
Yeah. I don't know what they eat.
What else do they eat? Man. Yeah, well, so my NFP gal, she told me I should probably, like, go on the GAPS diet or something for, like, my charting and for my autoimmune disorder. Really? Have you heard of the GAPS diet?
Yeah, I was listening to Catherine Weller talk about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do that.
But she's going to give us pizza eventually. Like, next week we're going to her house and she's going to make a GAPS pizza. And I'm like, okay, I'm set.
What is she doing for the crust?
I don't know.
Cauliflower?
I have no idea. I'm like, it's just going to be air.
Almond flour?
Almond flour. Huh, I wonder. Yeah, I'll have to ask her. I mean, if I get a pizza and ice cream, I'll be golden. I mean, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I could live on pizza alone. Yeah. Jesus didn't say, thou shalt not live on pizza alone.
Yeah.
It was bread, and there's a little extra on pizza. What are you doing for Lent this year?
Well, I was actually, the reason I brought that up was I was thinking about, there's, like, we live kind of out in the country a little bit, and we have older people that live around us. So I was thinking about I know they get lonely. Like, every time one of them stops by, they just talk my ear off. And anytime I try to say something, they just talk over me and just, like, keep going. And I'm like, you really want somebody to talk to. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I do, too. But yeah. I'll listen to you. But one of them recently, it was actually the day I was going to go to a mom's group meeting. And I made brownies, but then it was canceled. So I was like, well, I should just bring these brownies over to my neighbor Connie or my neighbor Peggy.
Oh.
But then I was like, well, we're already dressed up to go somewhere. Let's just go run some errands instead, and then Carter and I can have the brownies tonight.
Nice.
And so that's what we did. And then that evening, we saw an ambulance pull out of the guy's house behind us. And it turns out that he had killed himself earlier that day. And I was like, why? Like, I was thinking of bringing these brownies to these two women that I enjoy talking to. And I didn't even think about the lonely old man that lives behind me. And had I done that, had I just brought brownies to all the old people that live around me, it could have made all the difference for him. And not that I'm, like, blaming myself. Like, I hardly knew him. But it was just like, maybe God was trying to tell me something, and I was selfish. And, no, I want these brownies for myself, and I want to go run my errands. Like,
man.
So for Lent, I'm going to try to once a week get over and talk to my elderly neighbors and Carter's grandma. And, yeah. Yeah,
wow. I had just visited this gal that we were friends with for a long time, and she's in her 80s, and she has dementia, but she, like, and she didn't really remember where I was from, but she was, like, so excited to see us, and she's like, I can't believe you came to see us, and so it's like, visit old people.
Yeah.
Talk to old people, because they are awesome.
It's another way to be pro-life, like,
right.
Like, saving babies from abortion, yes, also, like, the old people that are so lonely and just waiting to die.
And even just, like, I mean, like, I'm not called to this, but, like, visiting people in jail, I think, would be a big thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, there's sanctity of life in every stage. Oh, here come the babies.
The babies have returned.
Yay. Hello. The screaming will begin.
True motherhood.
I know,
Here
right?
It goes.
I'm like, every time that I do this podcast, there's some screaming baby. Last time, there wasn't. And I was like, oh, this feels weird.
Well,
there's no screaming.
We have four babies in the house.
Is Finnegan in the car seat?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even see him. Is he sleeping?
No, he's awake.
Oh, nice.
He's hanging out.
Nice. Very good. Sanctity of life, man.
Say anything?
Do you wanna make a shout out, Jeej?
I say shout out.
Shout out to who?
All right, you're up to the microphone. What shall you do? We say hello. Hey, Gigi, what does a bear say?
What does
a bear say?
Good job.
Good job, Gigi. Okay.
Hello.
Now play.
I like your little hat. Has a little puff on it. It's very nice.
He's so shy.
Do you want to make a shout out, Joanna?
Can you tell us what the bear says? What does the bear say, baby?
Correct.
Good job.
Did you play? Yeah. You want to say something? Yeah.
Something.
What'd you do, Joanna?
Did you play on the swings?
You did?
Did you go down the slide?
Was it fun? She's like, don't talk to me. Is that cool? You can pick it up if you want. You want to say something?
Don't poke it. Break it.
Is that cool? This is the domestic church, as Angie would say.
Have you read Domestic Monastery?
Mm-mm.
It is so good. It's just a really small book, but it's like the domestic church is one way to think about it.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of like, like, makes sense. But when you think about it, like a domestic monastery, like certain times for everything, and like your baby's crying is your bell ringing. Like how they have to, once the bell rings, they have to drop everything.
Yeah.
And, like, they can't finish their sentence in their book or whatever. It's just time to move on to the next thing. And so, like, I think about that when I'm, you know, like, babies are sleeping and I'm reading my book, like, getting my me time and, like, it's quiet. And then one of them wakes up from their nap and you get, like, that sinking feeling in your tummy where you're like, it's over.
Dang it.
It's like, that's your bell ringing. Time to move on to the next thing.
Wow.
It's kind of cool to think about it that
I
way.
never thought of it like that. Because, I mean, and I think that's why motherhood is a vocation. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, you know, as they're playing with that. That's fine. Yeah, that's beautiful. I never even thought of it like that. Like, that you have these different, like, you have a structure, I guess, or like a schedule every day.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah, wow, that's crazy.
And that's what, like, anytime I go to confession for, like, being impatient or, like, anything family related, the priest, like, no matter what priest it is, they always say either, like, are you getting enough sleep or are you on a good schedule? Like, a good, you know, doing the same thing at the same time every day for your kids to, like, get into a good, like, understanding what's coming next and, like, you know, they don't, like, get surprised by anything and that just throws everything off for them.
Yeah.
So those are, like, the two things that the priest say, and I'm like, okay, I've got to really get on a good sleep schedule so that I'm not grumpy and, you know, like, really plan out my day and be intentional instead of just floating around.
So what does your day-to-day look like then?
Well, it's not very structured or scheduled.
Neither is mine.
Why I keep going to confession. But recently, since Abigail was born, Carter's been able to stay home a little bit later. So that's been nice. Like, he'll usually try and get me breakfast before he leaves, and then we tearfully wave him goodbye. And yeah, most of the time we'll hang out. I try to get grocery shopping once a week, and then we have mom's group every other week, which helps when mom's group doesn't get canceled. Yeah. When all of the moms, like, last minute can't make it.
When the stars can align.
Yes. But yeah, I try to honestly not schedule a lot, because on the days that I try to get a lot done are the days that I get really frustrated with my kids, because I'm over ambitious about what I can get done, and then when I can't get it done, I start to, like, mentally blame my kids. And that's when you get resentful. So I try to just, whatever I'm going to get done today, I get done. And I'm just going to hang out with my kids.
So what has been helpful for you? Because, I mean, Joanne is almost 2. So, like, so from, I guess, beginning stages of motherhood to now, what would you, like, tell past Savannah 2 years ago?
Oh, gosh. I think coming up with, like, good mantras has helped me.
Okay.
Like, when I'm starting to get frustrated or when I'm, like, feeling myself, like, slipping into this downward spiral of getting irritated, I, like, try to remind myself, like, you know, it is God's will be done. Or, like, I'm like, don't cry, she's clothed in strength and dignity. Don't cry. Be it done unto me according to your word. Yeah. Wow. So the mantras, I think, have helped recently. Or, like, I have this blackboard that I wrote on it. Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Be it done unto me according to thy word. Because that was what, you know, that was Mary's yes to motherhood. Yeah. And so sometimes I have a hard time, like, not thinking about what I could have done with my life, or, like, how much easier things were before babies, or, like, you know, like, had I chosen something other than motherhood, that I would feel, like, more free to do things. But then I have to remember that this is God's will. Like, behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. This is what you've asked me to do.
I think about that too. Like, when I had my issues and stuff, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a punishment for choosing the wrong vocation or something. Like,
yeah, I've had the same thoughts.
I think about that too. Like, or when things get hard, you're just like, okay, is this a punishment, you know? And my friend had told me that a nun had said the exact same thing. Like, really? Things would be so much easier if I was just a mom. If I was just married. And so the grass is never greener on the other side. Like, it's all grass and it's all dead all the time. You know, like, you just kind of have to live with it. And one thing that I do the mantra thing too.
Yeah.
One thing that really helps me is Jesus unclench my fist.
Oh, that's
It
a
is
good one.
a really powerful prayer. It's so short and it is applicable to everything, like especially raising kids. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we're tensed up all the time. Like you can feel it in your body. You're just like, I am a ball of muscles and stress. But like having that prayer is so therapeutic.
Yes.
And you just repeat it over and over and over again.
That's a good one.
It's
I'll have
really
to remember
helpful.
that.
Yeah. And then also like I have a Mary statue right there, or like
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'll have to show. There's this picture there too of Mary washing clothes in the river
I've seen that
with
one.
Jesus.
I love
My
that
mom got that
picture,
for me,
yeah.
and I have it right there near my dishes, and I'm like, all right, Mary, we're in this together.
That's
like,
a good one. I have the foot washing in my bathroom.
oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mary is
Yeah.
so cool. I love that lady.
Yeah.
She's so
My
awesome.
little sister Annalise, she says, I love Jesus first, and then I love Mary, Mother of God, and then I love Joseph, and then Mommy. The way that she says, I love Mary, Mother of God.
That's so cute.
It's so cute.
How old is Annalise?
She's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when she like didn't even talk. So when you talk about her like that, I'm
Yeah.
like,
She's the cutest. Like,
she's so
her
funny.
dimples and the way that she just like the way she says things. Like it's not like yeah or you know like it's yes for everything. Yes.
She's very classy.
Yes, she is.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
adorable.
it's so funny. I want Gianna to learn how to say shall we?
No.
I think that'd be so funny if she's like, shall we do this? Shall we do that? Like in her little voice instead of swear words.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, what the hell? That's
Oh
fun.
no.
Yeah, she like stands on her little slide over there and she goes, what the hell? What the hell?
Oh
What the
no.
hell? I'm like, I am going to lose my mind. Oh, you're good. Are you okay? She's all right. She just slipped, I think. It's okay. And she just starts talking. That's just her.
Her little language.
Yeah.
So cute.
Her little word salad.
Yeah.
She's so funny. I wish that I could record this and like post it with this.
Yeah.
'Cause people are hearing all these noises.
If they could see it.
It's chaotic, but it's good.
It's a good
Again,
chaos.
song of the she's climbing on her potty.
Yeah, what was it that Angie said? Song of the
Song of the domestic church.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I love that. I'm like, yep, this is, and our songs are really loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Gianna in Finnegan is naked. Okay. I didn't even know. Here, let me see Finnegan. Finn, do you want to say anything? Do you want to do a shout out, Finn?
Shout out from the baby.
Come here. Hi. Do you want to say anything to the mic? Would you like to say a word?
You can hear him breathing.
Yeah.
That's very eloquent.
Good job, Finn.
Very
Wow.
good.
His little chubby arms, those rolls.
He like breathes like a smoker. He's like heavy breathing. Oh no. Oh, Gianna. This is not constant. So for anybody that is considering being pro-life,
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's just loud, which is fine. I mean, I actually would rather have this than like music in a club, you know?
Oh, heck yeah.
Like, I remember going to bars sometimes and I like couldn't even hear myself talking.
Bars are overrated.
I hate
Clubs
bars.
are way overrated. Not that I've ever been to a club, but you know.
I've never been to a club. Have I? No, I haven't. But Nashville North.
Well, yes.
Nashville North is kind of like a club, I guess, like
Yeah.
a country club,
Yeah.
but not the good kind, like not the rich kind. It's like the kind where there's booty shorts everywhere, even in the
Yeah.
winter.
Dancing on the tables. Yeah.
That's right. I never stay late enough to see that anymore.
No, that's good. Yeah, the only time I went there, some old guy asked me to dance, and I was kind of like, how do I say no? And I just kind of felt really pressured into it, and so I'm dancing with him, and it was just like really, it was so awkward. And then this other, like an older lady that came with, well, she's probably in her 30s. She came over and just like saved me, and she was like, "Can I
thank God.
steal your partner?" I was like, "Thank you." Like, moms know.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Oh, were you married and like a mom at the time?
No, Carter and I were still just engaged.
Oh, okay.
That was when
okay.
I lived here before.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. And I don't think I I was old enough to go to a bar at that time. Maybe
No,
I was.
I remember when you. No, yeah, I remember when you turned 21.
I don't.
Or maybe yeah. Yeah, that one
crazy
time
night.
that I went to Nashville North, I was like, why am I here?
No, I hate Nashville North. I hate it, but I love it. Like, I like going, you know.
Yeah, well, I
with
love
friends.
dancing. There's no
Right.
good places to dance.
I wish
Like-
that they had like a swing dance bar.
Yes.
We're
Like,
gonna start
old
it.
50s. Let's do it.
That would be amazing. Like, and it'd be like diner style, you know. It have like the checkered floor and everything, and then we could sell root beer floats and stuff.
Yeah.
But then we could
Let's
put
do it.
alcohol in there too. They actually
That'd
do
be
that at
awesome.
Red Robin.
Yeah.
They have spiked.
I love their Bailey's milkshake.
Yes.
I love Bailey. Anything with Bailey's. Is
I
like,
know.
so
I'm like,
good.
oh, so good.
My little sister Annalise, she got a root beer one time at a restaurant, and so when we were at a restaurant the other day, she goes, "Can I have beer like I had last time?" Oh no.
I just want to have a conversation with her now.
She's
'cause
the best.
She's so funny.
She's the best.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's amazing.
You should have a or you should have my mom on.
I was just gonna
She
say that.
would- Yeah, I mean, it would be a very long. I mean, not because she like talks a lot, but because she has a lot of story. Like she has
Yeah.
almost like 2 motherhood stories. Cause
Cool.
like she has me and my sister when
Mhm.
we were kids and everything, and single mom and all of that, and then marrying and like I guess like the story of coming into like doing it right, like the
Yeah, yeah.
conversion story. Cause she was always Catholic, but we went to a Novus Ordo
Mm.
when I was younger, and it was a very Novus Ordo. Like
yeah.
it felt Protestant. Like our priest wore like Hawaiian shirts and everything, and but like that like part of her life, it's like a whole different life.
Yeah.
So she'd be a really interesting one to have.
That'd be
on,
cool.
but,
Mrs.
yeah.
Kemna, please be on.
Yeah.
I still call her Mrs. Kemna even though
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Like, I can't
I
not.
still do that too sometimes. And they're like, "You're an adult now. You can stop calling me that."
Yeah. it's kind of funny, but no, that'd be cool. I think
Yeah.
I was actually just gonna mention that. Like,
Yeah.
she should be on. So, how is it having sisters that are like younger, pretty significantly?
It was hard when I was a teenager because everybody always was like, "Oh, good, you have built-in babysitters."
Oh.
And I was like, thanks. So like, yeah, you know, I love my sisters and getting time with them and everything, especially now. Like now it's great.
Yeah.
But when I was a teenager, it was not my favorite thing in the world. And I was
Right.
actually like, I was so scared of becoming a mom
Really?
because of that. Like my mom ran a daycare when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Out of her house when she was a single mom. She didn't want to put us in daycare. So she started a daycare in her house, and so I was always around kids. Like my own house was baby proofed. I had like a child lock on my door and everything, and having birthday parties at my house. There was like kids' toys everywhere. And we didn't have any kids in the house. We just had kids' toys in the house.
Right.
And then when my mom remarried my stepdad, and they had 3 more, it was more kids. So my whole life it was just like constant babies in the house, and I was like constant babysitter and, you know, taking care of them and stuff. And I knew how hard it was
Right.
to be a mom and take care of. I didn't know like the whole nighttime thing, like that aspect wasn't part of it. Like I didn't realize just how hard it was, but I knew that it was going to be really hard. So I was scared to become a mom, and I actually I almost called off our engagement because I got such cold feet. Like I don't know if Melanie's ever told you, at my bridal shower, she helped throw it, and like before the bridal shower, I just like went in the back room and just started crying because I was
my
like,
gosh.
I don't know if I can do this. like I loved Carter. I didn't want to lose him. I wanted to marry him, but I was like,
Sorry.
net over her
I know
head.
this is a really important moment.
Joanna's like, what the heck?
She's like, I'm in crazy
Yeah,
town.
crazy. But yeah, I was
Wow.
getting really cold feet, and also like that aspect of like, what if I choose the wrong vocation? Like, am I gonna be unhappy forever? That's what I was told growing up, is that if you choose the wrong vocation, you're gonna be unhappy for the rest of your life, which was
Wow.
really bad advice. But I was so scared of choosing the wrong vocation and of motherhood, and I wanted like a break in between kids, like from the daycare to my little sisters
Yeah.
to my own kids. I wanted like a break, and my plan actually when I met Carter, I was saving up to go on a road trip over the summer, like just myself in my little Civic my 2004 Honda Civic. I got like an air mattress that goes in the back seat to turn it into like a
Oh man,
it's like a
that's
car
awesome.
air mattress.
Yeah, I've seen those.
I had it all planned out, and I knew how much I was gonna save up to go on this trip. I was gonna go all the way across the country and back, like slowly, and take my time, and like. And I knew how much I needed to save up and how much I was gonna spend a day. Like I had it all worked out. And then I met Carter, and Carter thought that was a really bad idea. And I met him in the winter at the Christmas party, and I was gonna go in May, and he was really worried for me. So I was like, well, I've been planning this for a really long time. Like, I've got it all, planned out. And my dad thought everybody thought it was a really bad idea, actually. I was just like the one being stubborn, gonna do it. And so like just a few weeks before I was gonna go, Carter thought that he would
Gianna Bacon.
Carter thought he would surprise me and tell me that he would go with me.
Oh.
And I was like, well, that's not really the point. Like,
the
whole point is kind of to go by myself and like experience that freedom, like being on my own before I go from my parents to my husband.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I've already worked it all out with your dad, and your dad is going to come and take over my business while I go with you. And I was like, that was sacrificing so much. My dad might have lost his job, and Carter, taking time off from his business that he's been running.
Yeah.
And coming with me. And so I was like, they really care about me, and they really think this is a bad idea. So just a couple weeks before I was going to go, I said, fine, I won't go.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that was like always my dream growing up, was to go travel and just experience that like freedom of not having to check in with anybody else on what I was going to do and just go and do it. But now looking back, I'm like what was like I get the freedom, but like so like go on a hike by yourself and like what's the fun in that if you're not sharing it with somebody?
Right.
Like,
well, and you guys can do it. I mean, I guess later on down the road you can do that.
Yeah, when you're retired.
Or even with kids. I mean, I know that sounds like
true.
hell, but like maybe you guys can rent a little RV and do. Because I've heard
of Melanie doing that.
Yeah, Mel did that, and then Teddy's dad did that one time. Not with them, but with his family. They did that, and so. And Teddy and I have always said, like, we want to go and do that eventually. And it's nice that we can homeschool the kids, because it's like we could just teach them on the road, It would be awesome to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Just like, because, I mean, it's kind of funny because it's pretty rare that people have seen, like, the entire United States. And we live here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we got to explore. I mean, I want to be in your neck of the woods and visit. I've heard it's beautiful over there, like especially in the fall.
It's different. Yeah, the fall is the best.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yikes. Gage. She likes to slip on those boxes.
And then be dramatic about it.
Yeah.
Like, somebody come help.
But then she saves herself. This is my everyday.
Same.
Yeah. And Finnegan's like, I don't want to be put down. He's like in a little pick me up all the time phase.
Yeah, I think that's like a phase until they're like 7
years old.
Yes.
Yeah. GH is pretty independent. Like Gianna. Oh man, rip everybody wearing earphones or headphones right now. GH is really independent, actually. She has always been independent, and she has always been, like, she's been bothered that she's in a baby body since she was born. And, so now that she can walk, it's like she's kind of like realizing her independence, I guess, which is funny. Like, it's funny when you look at them and you can see the little wheels turning in their brain,
Yeah.
They're, like, trying to discover something. I love it, actually. That's like my favorite part of it. I just watched Gianna, and it's like built-in entertainment.
Yeah,
every day.
It is.
And there's like a ball pit over there, and she's just so funny. That kid.
I love the little setup with the fence.
Thanks.
That's like, I don't know why I haven't really thought of, like, I've thought of like a like a playpen. Yeah. But I just feel like that's so confining for them. But like the whole room. That's a good idea.
Right. Well, I've always felt like I've been nervous that I'm not giving her enough freedom. But then I'm like, she has a slide, she has a ball pit, she has a swing, she has a blah, 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 everything in the world, And so She doesn't need to have a cast iron pan in her hand.
Right.
She doesn't need to go into my cabinets and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I feel like I'm always telling them no because I give Joanna free reign of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm always like, no, you can't touch that. So and then I'm always telling her no.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it, and she seems to be fine. I mean, it's her little domain, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where I like it, where it's like she has independence of this room area. Like this is her zone.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's funny because sometimes when kids come over, she like cleans up after them and like puts her toys away. She's like, okay guys, let's keep my area clean. Yeah.
So cute.
What did you just eat? I don't know what she just put in her mouth.
Chair food.
Better than poop. After that experience, I'm like, everything's better than that.
Nothing will faze you.
No, I know. Like, I'm kind of glad that the it went from poop to throwing up in the car, like that type of it was like within a few days of each other too. So it was like, okay, I can handle the throw up. This is not as disgusting. Like, and I had always thought about that. I'm like, am I gonna throw up if she throws up? And then she did it, and I'm like, this is second nature. Like, it was all over me.
Oh no.
But I'm like, it like didn't even faze me. I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Well, did they spit up much as babies?
Gianna didn't. Finnegan, he's King Barfo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. But ever since he started eating solids, he hasn't been as much, which is good.
Yeah.
But he's funny, man.
Both of my babies are very spit uppy.
Are they?
Yes.
Hello, man. You're very nice.
I think you can even hear him from there, grunting. It's like a little caveman.
So cute.
Oh boy. Well, we should probably end this before she starts swearing on.
Yeah.
Swearing over it. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm so glad I could catch you while you're here.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to have you on again when you come up next time.
Yeah.
Whenever that is.
Yeah.
I'll come to your neck of the woods.
Yes, you should.
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I want to visit. We have so many plans. Like, we want to travel so bad, you know? So we'll see. Once Finnegan, I think, gets a little bigger.
Yeah. Well, we've got a place to stay with us.
Sweet.
Like, anybody can come visit, come see DC, and like all the Civil War era stuff.
That was cool.
A lot of battlegrounds around us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's Gettysburg? Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not near Pennsylvania.
It's like a 4-hour drive.
Oh, okay, so not bad.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I'm like very interested in Civil War stuff.
Yeah.
So that would be super neat.
Yeah. All the states around us are a lot smaller, so like going to a different state is not as big of a deal.
Okay.
So,
Sweet. Right on. Okay. Well, and the final thing, did you become more like your mom when you became a mom? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm just like my mom. And
really?
It's kind of, I feel so bad now because I gave my mom such a hard time about so many things that now I'm doing. Like, I sound like her, and I have more of her mannerisms, but also, like, I remember telling her to, like getting mad at her for losing it in front of us, or, like, you know, like, having a hard time in front of us. Like, you know, the saying, don't let your storm get your kids wet.
Yeah.
And that's just not possible. Like,
no, it's
now
not.
I'm like trying to hold myself together, and my kids are only 2. So I'm like, I know I gave her a harder time than she needed. So
Same.
yes, I'm so much more like her now than I was before.
It's kind of funny. Like, I've had mixed reviews from a lot of people. You know, like some people say they're even more like their dad after they have kids, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. Like, I'm exactly like my mom. Like,
yeah, you
100%. And my mom is funny because she told me, I just had it in my brain and then it left. She said something. Oh, yeah. You're going to be, like, in survival mode until they're, like, 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I used to give people a hard time, too, for talking about how hard motherhood is.
Yeah.
Like, or, you know, when I was pregnant and they would say, like, enjoy your life now. Or even when we were first married and they were like, you know, enjoy this phase of life, wait to have kids for a while and get into things.
Yeah.
Which is bad advice to, you know, wait to have kids when you're ready to have kids. But I used to give people such a hard time for that now. And now I'm like always not complaining about my kids, but talking about how hard it is. And,
right. Well, and I think that in a sense, like that is bad advice, you know, like, or to tell moms that are pregnant, like, oh, get ready, you know, like, I think it's important to tell them you'll have the graces to deal with this, like, like, no matter how good of a mom you think you're gonna be or how bad of a mom you're gonna be, like, something innately just triggers when you have a kid, and you can just do it, because I was like, okay, when my kid cries, how am I gonna deal with a crying kid? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then when Gianna, you know, even now, I'm just like, okay, it just is a natural response. So, for anybody that's, like, scared to have kids, you're built for it.
You can do it.
Yeah, everybody's built for it, you know, and, like, you'll get through it somehow. So, yeah, no, I definitely think that's true. And
I mean, think with every phase, though, like I remember before we had kids, and I felt like I was so busy. And, you know, like, even just keeping up on, like, house stuff and, like, planning a dinner every night. And I was like, how in the world am I going to do this with a baby? Yeah. Like, I already feel like I can't handle just taking care of us. And then we have a baby. And I'm like, well, I'm doing it. And then I'm pregnant again. And I'm like, how am I going to do this with 2 under 2? Like,
I know. I was thinking that, too. Do you ever get the comment, like, oh, you have your hands full?
All the time.
Same.
Yeah. And I use, what's his name? Matt Frad.
Yes.
He said better than empty. So I say that.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. He had Emily Wilson on one time. Is that the same one that you were talking about?
I think so.
Okay, so she said, you should see how full my heart is.
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
I use that one. I used to say, oh, it keeps me out of trouble. You know, that implies that I'm, like, getting into trouble all the time, which I'm pretty boring, other than that one time in Corbin. But anyway, yeah, no, like, I think it's important for anybody listening, like, if you see a mom that's struggling, ask to help, or just tell them, like, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, have I told you how I met, you remember that one girl, Sydney, at the moms group that I was hosting at our apartment before?
Yes.
I met her at Walmart.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joanna was only 4 months old, and I had only been grocery shopping with her, like, 3 times or something. Like, I was scared because she was such a fussy baby.
Oh, really?
So I was scared to take her to the grocery store. But I was checking out, and my card, like the little chip thing, wasn't working. And Joanna was just screaming, and I was like really trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
And she also had a 4-month-old, and she came over to me and she was like, "Can I help you?"
Aww.
And she just started crying, and then she was like, "I don't know why I'm crying." And then we're like consoling each other at Walmart. Like, we're
moms
get
stick
through
together,
this.
man.
Yeah. But she like offered to pay for my groceries.
Wow.
And I didn't let her, like, my card eventually worked, but, and then, you know, she's crying and walking away, and I'm just, like, so grateful. And then out in the parking lot, I see her driving by as I'm loading up my groceries, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to be friends? Like, you're just so sweet. I want to be friends." So we exchanged numbers, and that's how I met her.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I appreciated it so much, though, just, like, this other mom, like, saying, like, it's okay, like, I've been there, and, you know, like, I experienced this too, and you're doing fine.
Yeah, I try to go out of my way to do that, and, like, tell moms, even though I'm not, like, I'm not a seasoned mom or whatever, like, I think it's still important to, like, tell moms you're doing fine.
Yeah.
And my parents actually got advice from a priest one time, Father Irwin, God rest his soul. He said, are they clothed? Are they fed? Do they have a roof over their head? And are you teaching them the faith? All right, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing fine. Like, I get so concerned I'm going to mess up my kid. And it's
Me
like,
too.
she gets Scooby snacks all the time.
Yeah.
She's fed all day long. She's not going to be messed up. Like, if I tell her no once, or I, like, lose my mind in front of her once, like, she's not going to have PTSD or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I worry about the same thing. Yeah.
I think all moms do. I think we all worry that our kids are gonna become some, like, criminal or, like, some like crazy person, you know, but I think it's hard to do that. Like,
yeah, you have to really go wrong to
and eventually
mess up your kid.
Right, well, and eventually too, it's like at some point it's that kid's, like, you teach them as best as you can, and at some point they have to make that decision, you know. So, like, even the best moms, their kids mess up, their kids sometimes become messed up, and that isn't necessarily a reflection of how good of a mom they were. Like, it's just what the kid decided to do.
Yeah. So, yeah, you just have to, like, equip them to be able to make their own decisions in a good, you know, like don't tell them what decisions to make or
Mhm.
shelter them, but once they're introduced to making their own decisions and all of these, things that we want to shelter them from.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Just teaching them to be able to make the right decision
Yeah.
that's our job.
Right. And I also always worry about like if I'm sheltering her too much, like
yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially like traditional Catholics and stuff, but like even just parents in general are worried, am I exposing my kid to too much of the world? And there's like a balance I think that you have to have. Like you expose them enough that they know what to avoid, I guess.
Yeah.
But don't like shelter them so much that they don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I think it's really hard to hit that balance. Like really hard.
Yeah.
So we got to pray for each other and pray for our kids because it is a very strange world.
Yes. Very interesting
Yeah.
world that we're raising our kids in.
Yeah, but man, I mean, God equipped us for this time specifically.
Yes.
He has us in this specific moment for a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to find out what that purpose is.
I know. I'm like, will it be martyrdom? We will see. Yeah, crazy. Wow. Well, let's say a prayer for moms. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Emily.
Oh. Thanks, Gianna.